I got married 3 years ago. My last name now is Blasich, and I go by Mai for short, so it's a lot of names to take in. As I said before, I actually started as a Japanese manga artist. That was always my dream. I started out reading manga, and I just loved how it was so expressive, and just kept learning how to draw that. And so I do teach classes. I've taught classes at the library. So hopefully next year maybe you'll be able to attend one of my classes.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Here's my manga. It's called Tea Club. So I drew this maybe a long time ago, more than 10 years ago. I have one volume. Someday I'd like to go back to drawing it. I'm not sure when, but that's kind of one of my dreams. And this is my panda character, Big Butt Panda. So yeah, that's
I was
my
going to
thing
say,
now.
maybe people recognize our shirts as well. That was from Mai, so the hedgehog itself.
Yeah, and I'll tell you guys more about the hedgehog story when we get to the hedgehog part. So let's see. I saw we have a request for a sea turtle. Yes, we will do that later. That sounds excellent. How can we get a shirt like ours? You know, I have extra ones, and I'll talk to the library to see how we can possibly get those for sale for you guys. Okay, we'll get started. I'm going to draw in Photoshop, just because that's easiest for me digitally. But for you guys, you don't need Photoshop. I started out drawing with pencil and paper. It's still my favorite medium to use, pencil and paper. I just use Photoshop. It's easier for me to do a computer demonstration. Let's see. Get to.
Oh, someone asked if you could draw a panda. That's her specialty, so yeah.
Yes. So the first thing, for those of you who are going to draw along, I always do this. I just want you to do a warm-up. So take a piece of scratch paper, and the way I teach drawing, and for those of you who are looking to become artists, you know, everything is just kind of broken down to shapes. So I always recommend people just loosen up. So I want you to take, we're going to take about 30 seconds to loosen up, draw lines, kind of just get it out of your system. And you can draw shapes. A lot of things we're gonna be drawing a lot of ovals. So panda has a lot of ovals. The hedgehog has some triangles for the eyes, and Baby Yoda also has kind of like these sharp eyes. So everything that I'm going to be drawing today is kind of made up of these shapes. And I think before everything I'm going to draw, we'll kind of do a little bit of warm up. But take 10 seconds, get those scribbles and wiggles out, get loose.
And thank you to everyone typing in the chat right now with tons of things that they want Mai to draw. And don't worry, she will get to that. We're going to draw a panda first, but thank you so much for everyone, and feel free to type stuff in. She'll draw as much as she can.
Yes, definitely. That's my favorite part, is actually just taking your requests and drawing. And that's one of my favorite things to do when the Santa Clara Library has a Comic Con too. So I'm excited that you guys have requests.
Oh, Connie is drawing along, and she's drawing an X pen, she says.
Oh, cool. All right. So we are going to start by drawing a panda. And for those of you who have seen me at my panels before, this is the same lesson. It is, I call it 11 steps to a panda. So for those of you who've never drawn a panda before, I'm going to break it down, and I'm happy to share with you to draw your first panda. So the first thing I like to ask people do is think of a feeling, because we're going to be drawing a character, and the character is going to have an expression. So think of a feeling. It could be how you're feeling. It could be how your siblings are feeling, how your favorite character is feeling. But just take a moment and think about what feeling you want to express, and we'll come to that later. So that's the first step, think of a feeling. The second step is we're gonna draw the panda head, and it's gonna start with an oval. So I'm just using short strokes to draw the oval. Some of you might be better, can do it all in one shot. But I'm gonna have kind of a sketchy style this whole time. So I hope everyone has their oval. The next step, step 3, is to draw an ear, and that's gonna be like a C shape up here. And don't worry if it's not perfect, we can always fix it. And then the next step is to draw the same ear over here on our right. And the next step, we're gonna draw a nose, and that's gonna be a smaller oval right down here. So it's starting to come together. Next, we're gonna work on the eye masks, which are also ovals. So I'm gonna start on the left with an oval. See, it's not perfect, but that's okay. And we're gonna do the same thing on the right. To be the eyes, which are circles. And they're gonna go right inside those eye masks. So I'm gonna start on the left and draw a circle. And then maybe do the same thing on the right. And now we're on the 10th step, which is we're gonna just fill in all the black parts. So fill in the ears and the eye masks and the nose. Becoming more panda-like. Just making my brush bigger in Photoshop so I can do it faster. I miss seeing you guys live. It's much better live. All right.
It's so much more fun when we're not. Yeah. I miss like the movement of Comic Con. I mean, there were so many people, so many things going on.
But I'm so glad that we can do this.
Mm-hmm.
And so the last part is, remember I asked you guys to think of a feeling. So we're gonna apply that feeling to the panda. So let me see if I can get the chat up. I guess I'll ask you guys, what expression do you want the panda, what feelings do you guys have? What feelings do you want the panda to have? Go ahead and type in the chat.
Vikram says happy. We have, Reed says angel. Smarth says happy. And then we have another happy as well. I think happy is the premier choice here.
Good. Let's see. I'm gonna add a new layer here. So the thing about Photoshop is that you can add layers and hide. So happy is an easy one, right? So it's kind of my standard. I'm in a good mood. I'm just happy to be here. And I like to show this because, lines tell a story. And, you know, it's just a simple thing, right? So happy is pretty easy. You can also do, let's see. And if you wanted to see him sad, you know, it's just the opposite. Or, you know, and just by a few simple lines, you can really change that expression. Let's see if I can get.
We have a couple, tired or sleepy or hungry is another one. Loved also.
Let's see, tired. You know, we can use, these are great expressions. You know, we're gonna kind of do the same thing with Baby Yoda. So we'll hang on to these as well. Mm-hmm. Let me see. I'll do tired really quickly. I'm gonna change his eyes. And, you know, I'm a cartoonist, so you can use everything, you know, this is what I'm thinking. He's tired. You can have a word bubble here. And another common thing for those of you who read manga, usually when people are sleeping, they have kind of like snot coming out of the noses. So that's kind of what I'm thinking here. So that's how I do tired. But yeah, so congrats everyone, drawing your first panda. So next we're gonna draw the hedgehog.
Just when we have a second here, I wanted to say thank you to the Santa Clara City Library Friends and Foundation who supported this event and allowed us to have Mai here in this wonderful program. You may have been to their book sales in the past. They had them every third Saturday. Obviously right now we can't do book sales like we used to. They've pivoted and they're selling on Amazon now. So you can go to their website, lovethelibrary.org, and you can support them through that way as well. And any donations or purchasing of books helps to support programs like these and lets us keep having Mai back at our library. So thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much. I just want you guys to warm up for those of you who are gonna draw the hedgehog. He's a ninja hedgehog, and I think to tell you some background about him, the character is actually a set of twins. So there's a boy and a girl hedgehog, and they're both ninjas, and they both want to be manga artists. So that's the backstory for the hedgehog. So they kind of have angular eyes. So go ahead and practice these shapes. They're spiky. Get those lines out, and we're going to put this all together in a moment. Okay. So similar to the panda, we're going to start with the head. And let's see. We'll go with that kind of C shape. This is going to be the top of the head. Then I'm going to draw the bottom of the head. Like that. It's another curved shape. And just to kind of anchor it, I'm going to draw the nose, which is a triangle. Go ahead and fill that nose in. Next, we're going to draw the eyes. So it's that triangle shape that I drew earlier. So one line down here. And a curved line, bottom of the eye. And then the same thing on the right side. And next we're going to do the ears, which are kind of like cat ears. They're just kind of that similar cat shape. There's one there. And the same on the right side. And next we're going to do the hedgehog spikes. So this is where you can get a little crazy. You don't have to do as perfectly as I am, but feel free to make these hedgehog spikes however you like. And I'm going to finish off the hedgehog mask. But they're ninjas. They're not happy ninjas.
Vikram in the chat says that it kind of looks like Sonic, and it's like, yeah, they're hedgehogs.
Yeah, they're hedgehogs. The other thing, my style of drawing ninjas is like, I always draw a scarf. So this is the scarf on the hedgehog. And finish the body. And an arm. Other arm. So you can see it's just simple shapes, simple lines. It's the left side of the body.
So Tyler said here that he loves that we have hedgehogs and that there's 2 of them. And me and another librarian have always wondered, do they have names at all?
They don't have names, and that was kind of a point of discussion for future Comic Cons. Like, I think we do want to have a Name the Hedgehog contest. So hopefully we can look forward to that next year. So that's pretty much the hedgehog. They're ninjas, so you can color in the mask. That makes them look more ninja-like. But yeah, when I created this character, these 2 characters, in my mind, actually, whenever I create any characters, I think a little bit about their personality. So I just thought about the story of Comic Con, and wouldn't it be great if the mascots also tied into that story? So it's kind of a fun idea that the hedgehogs are ninjas and that they're twins, there's a boy and a girl, and that they both want to be manga artists. So, it's something that, like, yeah, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a manga. I imagine some of you out there want to be manga artists too. So that's kind of the fun of being in a convention, is learning about art and learning how to draw. So this is the pen. Also gives you, when you have characters who have interests, you can draw props for them, and that adds a little bit more dimension to them. And there's our hedgehog. Let's see, are you guys ready for Baby Yoda?
Baby Yoda, the child, Gragu, we have so many names for this.
All right, let's see. Getting a new layer. So I don't have Disney Plus. I've had to research Baby Yoda on the internet and YouTube. And I have to agree, he's very cute. All right. So I have this, so I think you guys have gotten the gist. Like, I have the same approach for Baby Yoda. It's gonna be shapes. So that whatever scratch paper you had, I want you guys to practice your ovals. This is gonna be the ear shape. Just showing you the different elements that go into Baby Yoda. And this is common, you know, just doing warm-up sketches. Like, it's okay if things aren't perfect. You can always, you can always work something out. You can always fix it. What matters is that you're having fun and that you're putting your love into your art. All right. So just like all the others, we're going to start with the head for Baby Yoda, and that's going to be an oval like that, or a curved line like that. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to draw the bottom of Baby Yoda's head. So I'm leaving space there, and you'll see why in a moment. That's the basics of Baby Yoda's head. Next, we're going to do the ears. So starting with the left. It's the top of that ear. I'm going to finish it on the bottom. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Next, we're going to draw the kind of the inner detail of the ear. Actually, what I want you to do is draw a line up here to finish the face. And then we're just going to draw a curved line to connect right there. You see it's starting to come together. All right. Next, we're going to do the eyes, which are, we're going to start with an oval shape, actually. I'm going to add a new layer so we can kind of experiment with different eyes. That's the top of the eye, the bottom. It's kind of an oval with a point at the end, and we're going to just draw the same shape on the right side. And I'm going to add a circle for a highlight. So we're going to leave that spot white and do the same thing on the right. And you can go ahead and fill this in.
If you are following along with Mai, feel free to post your drawings that you make on our library Facebook or tag us in it. We would love to see whatever you're creating, and I'm sure Mai would love to see it too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, post it. If you post it on their Facebook, I'll come and check it out. I'd love to see it. All right. Next, we're going to do his nose, which is a little curve here. I know this is a little bit different from the movie, but I thought this was cuter this way, to make his nose like that. And the mouth, I did a lot of research before coming here, and I just thought this was like the cutest. And these are the little wrinkles above his eyes.
He has a mischievous look there.
Yeah. And you know, he is a very simple, so my idea was just to show you guys, you know, this is his head, and you can feel free to do, you know, I taught you how to draw the basic part, and you can actually do different expressions. That's why I drew this part on a different layer. So Yoda expressions. Now, Helen, what were the other expressions that we had? Do you remember? Maybe you can scroll in the chat.
Yeah, give me just one.
You can draw Baby Yoda that way. So we have kind of a
hungry, tired, sleepy.
Hungry.
Cool was another one.
Cool. Let's see. Well, this is one I practiced drawing that I thought was kind of funny. I'm sure everyone else thought was funny. I saw the part where he was eating a frog. And it looks kind of funny, but
Melissa in the chat said that she made Baby Yoda. She's drawn along, and he's eating a cookie, and he says, "Cookie,
nice.
Yummy." And I hope you
that.
love this.
Eating a frog. Let's see, I can do one more and then I'll take, oops, let me get my screen again.
We did have a question about what program you're using. Would you feel comfortable answering that?
Yeah, so I'm using Adobe Photoshop, and there's a lot of different tools you can use on the computer. Procreate, if you guys have iPads, Procreate is a great one. A lot of artists do use that. A lot of professional artists use that. With the art, with the pandas in the background that you see that I'm using, I actually sketch out just like how I'm showing you guys, and then I finish it in Adobe Illustrator. Let's see, let me do one more expression. Any other requests for Baby Yoda?
Worried was another one. Hungry. Oh, we have hungry. Madeline, I saw that you raised your hand, but we're not doing raised hands. However, if you want to type what you want to say in the chat, we'd be happy to answer any question.
We have worried. I don't know, is Baby Yoda worried in the series at all? Or does it just kind of goes along?
I don't think so. He seems hungry a lot, though.
That's how I do worried. All right. Let's see. Yeah, I think so. I guess the rest of the part, I'm happy to draw and take questions.
Sure, we had another art question for you. They were asking, is PaintX a good recommendation?
I don't know anything about PaintX. I'm happy to research and get back to you. But you know, what I want to encourage is like anything. Really, art is about you, the artist, and it doesn't matter what tool. Like whatever tool you like using, if that helps foster your own creativity, like just use that. I will share that like a lot of professional artists use Adobe Photoshop and Adobe Illustrator. So eventually, if you want to be a professional artist, you will learn how to use those tools. But as you're learning and developing your own art skills, it doesn't matter what you're using. Like even if you don't have a computer, you don't have digital stuff, what matters is that you're sketching and you're drawing and you're learning. Hopefully that helps. Let's see, requests for drawing, so I'm ready to go.
Sea turtle was our first one.
Oh yeah.
If you did have a request for drawing that you put earlier in the chat, we've been having a lot of chatter. If you want to add it into the Q&A, maybe to make it a little easier to see, I would appreciate that. But I will also scroll up and try to find everyone's requests. We'll get through as many as we can.
So I actually recently drew a sea turtle. I'm actually working on a mural for the Sunnyvale Public Library where there's a sea turtle. So this is the sea turtle that I'm working on for them. We're all excited for the library to eventually be open.
Yes. Hopefully sooner rather than later.
Yeah, we just want to be safe. Hope everyone's wearing their masks. I guess I can post these on Facebook too. So I've kept all the drawings that I've done.
Yeah, maybe we can make a post with all of yours and then anyone else can post their own.
Yeah. Goofy. So that's my sea turtle. All right, ready for the next request.
I don't know how much you do human beings, but someone did ask for Hermione Granger from Harry Potter. Would you feel comfortable?
Oh, yes. So I think I'll write that down. So I'm primarily a manga artist, and that's kind of how I would draw Hermione in the manga style. And I'm gonna draw her, I think, are you guys familiar with the chibi style? That's how I'll draw her.
And if you're interested in more manga or you want to get into manga at all, we did a panel earlier today that was great graphic novels for kids, teen, and adults, where I personally mentioned quite a few manga that are really great. It's on our YouTube channel if you wanted to check that out. I feel like manga is something that everyone should check out personally. But.
Yeah. What it is about manga is that there's so many stories. It's really about the stories. And compared to like US comics, they're like, I love superheroes and that's a big part of our culture, but just that manga will focus on really the character and kind of the character development. And they do a lot of like realistic, relatable scenarios, like, you know, people in high school or, you know, as well as the fantastic things like, you know, like Attack on Titan, like the, you know, kind of apocalyptic sort of scenario. But then there's so many stories that are just around high school and high school life and feelings. And that's kind of what I liked about manga.
I recently started reading Kingdom, the manga Kingdom, and it's about the warring states in China and the unification of China, obviously a long time ago. And it's such a cool part of history that you can learn a little bit about while you read a manga.
Yeah, and that's what they do in Japan. You know, they put a lot of research into their stories, and they have, you know, just as a culture, like they will do educational manga. So like, I think that's why, like my son, I have a son who's 10 years old and he just loves reading graphic novels. And yeah, if you put history in a graphic novel, he would totally just read that. So it's my Hermione chibi. Okay.
All right, our next one asks you to draw a Pokemon. It doesn't specify which Pokemon, so maybe whatever your heart desires.
Okay. Let's see. I would say my favorite Pokemon is Charmander.
A good pick. Fire starters is the right way to go.
Yeah.
Come out and say that.
I just like how he's so cute, but then he evolves into this really fierce guy. But then he, like his story, he just loves Ash initially, and then he evolves and kind of grows up and goes through his rebellious phase. But then he eventually remembers his roots, like, oh, Ash has done so much for me, and I can get behind obeying him again. Another nice thing about digital is that you can undo.
We'll try to get to as many drawing suggestions that we can. There's a lot in the chat. Mai will do the best she can.
There's Charmander. All right.
Our next request was for you to draw a chicken.
Oh, great. Does anyone have any other art questions? How to break into the industry? What programs you should be learning? Anything like that?
Mai, did you want to tell us how you broke into the industry a little more?
Yeah, so I always wanted to be a comic artist, and one of my favorite titles was actually Usagi Yojimbo, which I know that the library has tons of volumes.
Yes.
And so the author of Usagi Yojimbo, Stan Sakai, he would do like how I draw, how do I create Usagi Yojimbo, and I really studied that and just kind of obsessed over it and kind of applied it to my own comic art. And I was always looking, as a kid, I was always looking for comics that requested submissions, and that's kind of how I broke into comics. Is that I was reading an American manga called Ninja High School, and they used to do an annual anthology, and they were open to submissions. And every year I would pick up this anthology and think like, I can do this. And so one year I just dedicated myself to drawing a story for them, and I got in, and that's when I was in high school. My first published work was actually a pinup illustration. They had like a swimsuit issue with the characters in Ninja High School, and so yeah, I was a senior in high school, and that was my first publication. And every year after that, for the next like 5 or 6 years, I submitted something, whether it was an illustration, and that's how I got started as a published artist. And then my most recent published work was actually with Usagi Yojimbo. There was a tribute book to Stan Sakai to help pay the medical bills for his late wife, and I submitted a pinup, and got into that.
Wow, that's amazing. Full circle, that's for sure. Our next request was for you. They want to learn how to draw a human, specifically a girl.
Human girl. So what I will say, I'm a manga artist. Everything is based in real proportions. I'm gonna draw kind of a standard manga girl face. And I don't have time to do the whole body, but I will show you something quickly, kind of about proportions. And this is something I commonly go over when I'm teaching manga.
Mai, could you tell us a little bit more about where we could find you if we want to see more of your drawings?
Oh, yeah. So I have a website, and that's pmbq.com. That's where I sell my panda stuff, my panda shirts. I'm actually working on a holiday sweater design with pandas and cats that'll be released probably tonight. As far as my manga work, you can also buy my comic on there. But my artwork, you'll probably find on Instagram. So it's the same letters, PMBQ, on Instagram. I'm also on Facebook. So these are all linked on my website. But on Instagram is where I'll post more sketches. I really post content more quickly on Instagram. It's just an easier update.
And I'm going to link her website right now.
this is kind of a basic head, and I want to show just very quickly the more realistic head. So when you get more serious about drawing, you start to learn more about proportions. When you draw a head, usually you see these guidelines, and it's to help the artist like place things in a consistent way. So the eyes are always in the middle of the head. The nose is always roughly about here. Even if you want to be a cartoonist, it's important to study proportions in real life, because it's in the same, they have the same relationship. It's just that the manga is kind of like a little bit of an abstraction from life, but the more you understand what it's based on, the more your cartoons seem more, kind of weird, it seems more realistic. But yeah, this is kind of a more, I know this the face on the right is a little bit, it's still cartoony, but I hope you can see that they have very similar placements. It's just that, you know, a realistic face will have smaller eyes, but they have the same measurements on the manga face. So hopefully that helps. Hopefully I can give that workshop again next year.
All right, I kind of have like a Christmas theme going on here: gingerbread man, Christmas tree, snowman. Maybe pick whichever one you would like to do, Mai.
Okay. The snowman's easy. Let's see if I can do all those. So when you guys are making these requests, I'm just like breaking it down into shapes. I hope you are seeing the patterns. You know, I'm used to just, you know, I used to carry a sketchbook everywhere when I was young, and I was always drawing, always practicing, just like what you see here.
Mai, did you have a tip for anyone here that is interested in becoming a professional artist, like a?
Yeah, you know, my biggest tip is, as a professional artist, I think the hardest thing is you have to learn to draw when you don't want to draw. Like artist block is a real thing. And sometimes you have a deadline as a professional artist, and the deadline's not going to change just because you don't feel like drawing. So that's kind of the top thing that sort of weeds out the hobbyists from the professionals. Even with that said, say you love drawing as your hobby. They're like, also don't stop drawing either, because so I work as a digital marketer, and there's no art in my job at all. Actually, I'm able to transfer my creativity into like how I do marketing. But it's still, because I know I definitely identify as an artist, and it's still a need for you. So all you people who are creative and love to draw, like, art is a need. You know, I want to just encourage you that don't make apologies for feeling the need to draw, because it's real. You know, it's part of you. You need to create. You need to have an outlet for that energy. So there's nothing wrong with not becoming a professional artist. But just like, if you identify with art and you love creating art, like don't stop. Like, always try to find some way to do art in your life. Like, I've gone through periods where I just focused on my work and I didn't draw, and I just didn't feel good. So that's my top tip. Is like, don't stop creating. Don't think that you have to be a professional artist. There's, you know, nothing wrong with doing art as a hobby. But, you know, just don't stop. You know, the world needs you and your passion.
Especially now, we need as many artists as possible.
Yeah.
Get us through some of the hard times.
Yeah.
Mai, do you want to tell us about how you became involved with Comic Con?
Yeah, so I go to the regular Comic Con, the big Comic Con in San Diego, and I've been an exhibitor there for I think almost 20 years. And the founder of the Santa Clara Library Comic Con, he works at Santa Clara Library, and he also volunteers at that Comic Con. And so I, as an exhibitor, he volunteers in the exhibitor area. Um, he would just see me, and one year he had the opportunity to marry his two passions, like working at the library and Comic Con, and into putting on a Comic Con. And so that's how I got invited. It's like, I know you're an artist. I love your art. Could you be part of ours? And it's like, yeah, I love it. I think it's a great show. So I'm really honored to be here.
A little further up, we got a request for a dragon.
Ooh, dragon. I also am drawing a dragon for the Santa Clara Library, or it's the Sunnyvale Library. If anyone, you guys are familiar with X-Men, this is a dragon from X-Men. His name is Lockheed. He kind of old school comic knowledge, but Lockheed was the pet of Kitty Pryde, Shadow Cat. And when I grew up, he was like, I just thought it was cool because he's just like this baby dragon who hangs out with Kitty Pryde.
We have about 5 minutes left in this panel, and if we have coming up next is our last panel for the day for Comic-Con at Home. Hope you've enjoyed your time here, and it has 6 artists and creators from various industries, but they're mostly Pixar artists, and they came together to create a graphic novel. And our librarian, Danny, will be interviewing them about their upcoming graphic novel. I would definitely recommend checking that out as well. Once Mai is done, though, not until then,
That sounds amazing. Yeah, right now I'm working as a digital digital marketer because we live here in the Bay Area. I have a family, and I didn't pursue the traditional professional art track, but someday I will be doing PMBQ full time, and I still consider myself very much a part of that industry too.
Tyler in the chat says, thank you so much, Mai. So I really wanted you to hear that. And then Melissa says that the dragon looks like the dragon from Dragons and Tacos. Dragons Love Tacos. And I totally think
I'll check it out.
Emily is asking you, how do you show the world your art?
How do you show the world your art? Well, it's so easy these days. With the internet, if you don't know how to make a website, there's social media. Like if you're old enough to have a social media account, it's pretty easy. You just create a social media account through, Instagram or Facebook. I can take another request while I'm chatting.
Sure, Siamese cat.
Ooh. I would say social media is probably the easiest thing to do. Like Instagram, like say you don't have a computer, but you have a phone and you have pencil and paper and you have paints. You can just do your drawing and then take a picture on Instagram and share that with the world. Yeah, my strongest recommendation is like, if you have a desire, if you have a will, it's that saying, if there's a will, there's a way. That's kind of like what I do at work is like, I've done some pretty interesting things as a digital marketer. And it's thanks to kind of my work and practice as an artist, is that like, I tend to see connections everywhere. Whereas like people who are traditionally digital marketers, they might only just see things in a spreadsheet, and they'll see them in the numbers. But like when I look at a business problem, I think about like how to do it, not just like how can I hit that, 10% growth, blah, blah, blah. It's like I think about like everything, all the work that goes into actually creating that result.
My parents have a little Siamese cat, and she looks a lot like this.
Yeah. The black faces. I have time for one more request.
Sure, we had a request for a twin star. I don't know what that is. Did you know what that was?
Is that Sanrio?
To the internet.
I'll try.
Yes, it is the twins from Sanrio.
See if I can remember. I think this is what they look like.
Yeah, no. I was like, oh.
If I'm wrong, I will redraw it and before sending it to post on Facebook.
Oh, thank you so much to the people who have already posted their drawings on our Facebook. It looks awesome. I'm sure Mai will check it out when she's done here.
I forget how their hair goes.
I think it's a little bit more bowl cutty.
See.
It is 2 p.m. We will have Mai finish up this drawing before we leave, but just so you know, our other panel will be starting at 2, so feel free to hop over to that one as well, and please post your drawings that you did. We'd love to see them.
I'm almost done. Thank you guys for coming. Please check out the other panel. And I'll probably fix this twin star before I send it in.
It's also like, what does twin star look like? Need to look it up.
Yes, I have to look it up. So thank you guys so much. I hope you have a great Comic Con, great holiday season, and I hope to see you soon.
Really hope next year we're in person and we can do this all again.
Thank you guys. Yeah, I'll fix that twin star for later.
All right, thanks everyone so much, and I hope at home you're giving Mai a virtual round of applause. We can feel it from here. Thank you so much for joining us, and please join our last panel of the day and check out Mai at PMBQ.com. It was a little higher in the chat, but it will also be available on our Facebook. Thanks so much everyone for joining us. Stay safe.